Scammers, hackers, they're bad. They make life miserable.
They're everywhere. It seems like they pop up everywhere.
Right. We need good guys in the business. Jason Bathon, owner of JABITLC here.
I got to ask you, Jason. He got your name wrong, didn't he?
Bathon?
No,
Bathon? Bathon?
Yeah.
I knew he was going to mess it
Jason
up.
Bathon.
I knew.
How's that?
I knew.
That's good.
It's close.
Thank you guys very much for having me.
He's from south of here. They don't ever get it.
It's all right. It's all right. Jason, you're here for a serious matter, though.
No,
talking about,
let's get down to it.
Scammers and hackers, people that mess with our older, your greatest generation, really tick me off.
Yeah.
But anybody can be a victim of cyber crime. So you are into security and cybersecurity.
Yes, and it's affecting our residents a lot here. Recently, we had a gentleman that was scammed for $11,000. They got him for $8,000 worth of Bitcoin, and then another, I think, $3,000 worth of gift cards. So it happens quite frequently. We usually get 2 to 3 people that come into our office every week that have been scammed or hacked or something to do with their computer and being scammed. So yeah, it's definitely a big problem, especially just in the local area as well.
It's interesting to hear that, because if I hear one thing over and over again when we're ever talking about this, well, this only happens in the big city. This doesn't happen out here.
No, it happens everywhere, including businesses and home people. And just because it hasn't happened to a small business around here lately, there have been several larger businesses that it has happened to already here locally. But it's not so much when or if you will get attacked by a cybersecurity attack, it's when.
Is it more virus related? How does it begin?
No,
I know there's several schemes.
Most of them are just phishing emails. Like you get an email, for instance, the one I mentioned about the $11,000. He got an email saying that his Norton antivirus is going to renew, and he was trying to call the number on the email that said, "Hey, here's how you. If you don't want to do this charge, it's going to be like $385. Call this number and we'll cancel it." Then they gave him $100 credit. They said they gave him $100 credit back. They actually gave him $1,000, at least what it looked like what it was on his bank. And they said, okay, well, you have to pay that. Oh, sorry, $10,000. You have to pay that $10,000 back to us now. And he went out and got gift cards and Bitcoin.
And I mean, logic dictates if they want it back in gift cards and Bitcoin, that seems fishy to begin with. But
you think so?
It can feel legitimate.
Oh, yeah.
When it's happening to you,
sure.
because I gotta relate the story of us right here in our company under a former ownership. We had somebody hack into our email system.
Yeah.
Through the email system, they were able to get into our accounts receivable. They were able then to get enough information that they were able to then write checks across the nation on checks that look like they came from us or look like they came from businesses that we did. I mean, it affected not only us, but dozens and dozens of businesses. Yeah. One little mistake.
Yeah, it's a $7 billion industry, and that's only increasing every year. I think year before last it was a $5 billion industry, so it's growing at an exponential rate right now. So a lot of it's coming from China, India, Russia. But yeah, they're definitely infiltrating as much as they can, and it looked very legitimate. The emails look legitimate. They have the logos from the whether it be like Cox or anybody, Microsoft. They all look very legitimate nowadays.
It is so easy to be fooled and to be scammed. Take a quick break here. We're talking to Jason Bathon, owner at JABITLC. He's going to be doing a security seminar coming up Monday. But now we're going to check in with Brian at the UPS store. Brian, how are you this fine Thursday? Here we are, man. Your team's playing tonight, right? Continuing our conversation. Scammers, hackers, they're bad. Jason Bathon, owner of JABITLC, is good. He's on the good side. He's a good guy. Computers and technology, the phones in our pockets, they're awesome. They can do awesome things. They're creative. Yeah, but then people turn them into evil tools.
Yeah. So that's one thing I was going to mention. I was going to mention a couple things today. We'll talk about more in the seminar on Monday. But 2 things you can do is turn on your multi-factor authentication or 2-factor authentication on all of your important accounts, including social media, because people are getting into social media accounts as well as emails. But what that means is you turn on a secondary method to get logged into your account, not just a password, but also a follow-up text or a follow-up authenticator. But you use another method besides just a password to get in your account. So all of your important accounts should have those turned on. And then 2, you should log out of your current admin profile on your computer and log into a standard user and have an admin account separately. But for your general everyday use, you shouldn't be using your computer as an admin.
Yeah, I never even thought about that
yeah.
because I bet you 90% of us do.
At least, probably more, because it comes into when you open a new computer as a box,
Yeah.
you're automatically logging into an admin profile.
Never even thought about that.
Yeah, if you're logged into an admin and somebody gets onto your computer, they can immediately start installing software on your computer.
I got to tell you, for a long time, man, I resisted the whole the two-way authentication because it's a pain.
Yeah,
you
it is a
know,
pain.
I mean, I've got a lot of Apple devices, and two-way means now you got to go find one, you got to find the code, you got to put it. But the truth is, there's a reason why it's a
yeah.
pain. That's to keep nefarious folks out.
The minimal part of that pain is insignificant compared to what happens if somebody steals your identity or steals your account and starts emailing all your friends, "Hey, I'm broke, send me $200." It happens every day.
It is so simple. And with AI, what has AI brought to the table?
So AI is both good and bad, as well as it depends how it's used. But
Sure.
It's helping out a lot with different kind of programming, but it's also creating a lot of bots out there, which means that you as a person, if you're a programmer, you can go on there and just create some bots, and the bots go out and create more accounts and looks for vulnerabilities in other people's computers and just installs a little bit of software and just sits there and waits for the person that created the account to do something with it, whether it be DDS.
Can you make bots that go eat those bots?
I wish you could, but no.
That would be fun.
You can make bots that look for those bots, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and go find that. You pointed something out. You said a lot of these scam artists, whatever you want to call them, a lot of them are coming from countries that we might call enemies of the state or whatever. Is that happening because these countries are just trying to make life miserable for Americans,
it's all about money.
Is it all about money?
I mean, I wouldn't view either China or India as being like enemies of the state, if you will, but they're definitely, that's the areas where they're coming from. China, Russia, India is where most
Because
of the
they have the technology to be able to do it.
Well, they have low rate for income for workers. So they can
Sure.
have 50 people in a call center. They can just close it up today and open up another one down the street. So
Sure.
it's more about the access to inexpensive labor, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry for the people that hire them.
And when we say somebody's trying to hack into an account, it's not just somebody sitting at a computer and going, "Let me try a password." Tell us a little bit about, if you've got an account or if you get something online, what the process is,
Sure.
how it's getting hacked.
So it's not usually a person just hacking into a computer per se.
Sure.
It's usually just fraud. So somebody gets a pop-up on their account, or somebody gets an email and they call the number or they click on a link. And that causes a step-by-step process where they follow and say, "Hey, you've got pornography charges on your Cabela's gift card, on your Cabela's credit card. So you need to send us $10,000, or we're going to report it to whoever." It's about getting the person off their center of gravity, getting them scared, and getting them to where they'll go out and do things that normal people wouldn't do, whether it be Social Security or Microsoft, anybody that you guys can think of. They'll kind of sort of pretend to be anybody.
And sadly, it's a pretty vulnerable population they prey on. It's those that maybe don't understand the technology, or heck, they might even understand it.
Yeah.
They just, sometimes the emails that come actually look pretty realistic.
Looks pretty legitimate, and it's not only just the older population. That is definitely a big segment of the group that they're targeting. But younger people that are born on cell phones now and not necessarily born on Windows computers anymore. They had a Chrome computer or a Mac computer.
Right.
They get on a Windows computer and they're not really familiar with how it runs. So the younger groups are actually being targeted as well.
Is there? I know all the protections that are out there, but advice. You're probably going to talk about this at your seminar, but just general advice besides authentication factors and things like
Sure.
that like, here's what you should look for if you suspect something. Here's what you should do.
Two things there. One is, I don't trust an email from anybody. I don't care if it's from my wife. I'll still call her and ask her, "Hey, did you send me this?" Because I'm not going to click on it until I get verify that it's from a legitimate source. Because people get hacked all the time. They'll take over their email accounts and they'll send out emails to all of their users. So you don't know what's legitimate or not. So that would be the first thing I do, is just not click on any links. Two, no legitimate company, whether it be Microsoft, Norton, McAfee, whoever, no legitimate company is going to ever ask you for either Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, or gift cards. That's a huge red flag. That's one that's very easy to look for, but still people do it every day.
I've always heard that if you get an email like that from a company that you do business with, let's say it's an antivirus company or something, the first thing you do is you don't make any moves with that email, call any numbers are on there. There's a customer support number or something that you can find someplace else, or you may already have it. You call that number.
Yeah, usually you can look on your bill that you received. Let's say for Cox, for instance, you can look on your Cox bill and call that number. But people just think blindly, okay, well, I'm going to call the number that's on the email and see what's going on here. There's a lot of emails going out, like you purchased $1,500 worth of stuff from Amazon. It's going to be shipped on this date, and it looks very legitimate. And most people shop on Amazon, so then they go there and they call that number that's on the email, and then it just starts from there.
So what do we do? I mean, I'm looking at you.
You're talking about job security.
I want something where I can just say, okay, I'm pretty comfortable with my computer. I don't need to worry about it. But I'm getting the feeling that's not ever going to be like that.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft comes with Microsoft Defender automatically with the operating system, so you have an antivirus on your computer already. The problem is that no matter how many antiviruses you have, we have some computers come in that are hacked or have been hacked that have 3 different antivirus programs on there, and nothing stops you from clicking on something. That's the problem. Is an antivirus program can't stop you from clicking a link or calling a phone number.
Yeah.
So you just have to be vigilant. You have to be very aware of what you're doing, and then not if you ever feel yourself get uncomfortable, like I'm scared of what this person is telling me. Stop, hang up, call somebody that you trust, call a company that you trust, and get some support.
And you hear things such as like, oh, just buy an Apple computer because those are much more secure, but that's just not true.
It's all half a dozen of one. Mainly, Apple was for a long time a small competitor compared to Microsoft. Microsoft had 70% of the business. Now it's maybe 60-40. So they weren't targeting as much because if you're a scammer, would you want to target 70% of the business, or you want to target 30%.
Right.
So now that Mac has come up more on the percentage-wise, they are being targeted more. You're seeing more attacks on Macs as well.
And your phone and your phones too.
Oh, definitely on your phone. Text messages, yeah. Yeah, don't trust anything. Just
You're killing me here.
Yeah, it's tough.
Killing me here. What can we learn when we come to your seminar? Tell us first about the seminar. When, where, why, how,
Sure.
all of that.
On Monday, March 25th, we're going to do a seminar at 6 p.m. It's brought to you by JABITLLC and Salina Media Connection, as well as a partial digital equity grant from Saline County. So we're kind of sort of trying to come together because we do our best we've made several posts, we've done several speeches trying to get people aware of this and what to do, what to look for, what to do if they are actually attacked, because at that point you're basically a victim of identity theft and you have to change all of your accounts, passwords, let your credit bureau know. It's a huge process. Let the FBI know if you can, at least make a local police report. So come out to the presentation on the 25th, learn more about what you can do to make yourself safe, and everybody thinks that they're safe, and it seems like very common sense, but if that were the case, we wouldn't have so many people coming in every week.
I think the word I heard you use that makes perfect sense to me is be vigilant. No matter what, you can be vigilant 99% of the time. That 1% of the time is when it's going to get you. And I worked at a media company one time that said that their security people within the company talked about how often somebody was, they called it, fits you, jabbing at their security.
Yeah.
And they said it's like thousands of times, and I said, really? I mean, every month? He goes, no, thousands of times every second.
Yeah.
Oh. And that's how it is because it's automated. Yes, and they're looking for vulnerabilities. Some of them are doing it just because they want to prove you can.
Yeah.
Some of them are doing it because they want the money or they want to be able to do something. The one that really scares me, and we've seen it in the medical community a few times, we've seen it in the educational community, but that's where they basically take your entire network hostage and want money to unlock it. I mean, is there a way to kind of proof yourself against that?
Well, proof, no. Help prevent, yes. Deter, yes. You've got to have a really good backup process and plan in place. So you have we try to go through a 3-prong approach. Like your local data is backed up locally. Mm-hmm. Then you have an on-site backup as well as a cloud backup. So you have 3 different places where your data is if it's that important. So that way if a tornado comes through and gets both your local backup and your local data, you can still have that data backed up on the cloud as well. So that's one approach. 2 is you have to have a very robust cybersecurity program. People don't realize you need to be spending about 3 to 5% of your revenue every year towards security and network infrastructure and IT stuff. We're moving towards more of a behavioral approach to kind of sort of seeing, well, this IP address doesn't work here. They haven't used access to the system before, so where's this coming from? So more of a behavioral analysis on cybersecurity prevention. So yeah, that's things that bigger companies can do, and they do this regularly. But yeah, having very good awareness of our employees, because phishing attacks is probably one of the biggest ones. And most companies aren't even trying to be hacked anymore. They found out that it's more easy to do is just purchase some disgruntled employee's credentials.
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
how they get in, and they get software installed, and it's a non. So we're going to zero trust, where we don't trust anybody.
Well, hence you just brought something else up. If an employee does leave for whatever reason it was, get things shut down immediately so they don't have access.
They could just be like, I'm unhappy here, and I'm just gonna I'll sell my credentials for $5 or $10 grand. What is the harm for me?
That's a scary
Wow.
proposition.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh yeah.
Jeff, we're taking your credentials today.
Scammers.
And my own, by the way, because I'm not sure I trust myself.
Hey, coming up Monday in North Salina over at the Salvation Army building. A great meeting, 6 o'clock start time. That's the 25th. Scammers, hackers, beware, because Jason Bathon's coming, owner of JABITLC. Put the crystal ball on a little bit, though. You've been doing this for almost a decade.
Yes, sir.
What do we look at as you look over the horizon 2, 3, 5 years?
Well,
Is it get worse or better?
So AI and is going to start creating programs. They're going to be looking for other AI bots. That we talked about this before, but we're going to start creating AI programs where they're going to be looking for stuff that seems unusual or seems out of the behavior of the normal business, and that's how it's going to just operate. Is those are just going to start fighting each other and looking for each other, and then they alert the people that are in the positions to make changes and hopefully prevent cybersecurity attacks and ransomware.
Maybe we don't need to worry about Skynet because the two AIs are going to be fighting each other, and they'll leave us alone.
That could be.
I mean, who knows? I mean, in the meantime, it's simple. Be vigilant.
Yeah.
If you got a machine, make sure it's secure. Take it to someplace like you that you can actually lock it down as best you can, and make sure there are people that can help you with that, because doggone it, you can't do it alone.
Yeah.
You can't. So if I just close my laptop, right? I just close it.
Just never turn it on.
Nobody can ever get in
Never
there.
use an electronic device whatsoever.
Yeah, and it doesn't work just to put a piece of tape over the camera, because if they don't have to see you to make it work.
Yeah. They don't.
You've given us a couple of interesting pieces of advice just today, but I mean, I think that's great.
Yeah,
you can find out more. In the meantime, we talked about looking over things. We're about out of time. But if I suspect I have a problem with a personal computer unit or something, that's something you can help us with.
Oh yeah, just bring it in. We have we call it JABIT optimization, where you go through the computer and look for viruses. We optimize to make it faster. We get people out of their admin profiles and put them into a standard profile.
Oh, yeah,
that's a big thing, because if you're an admin, you can automatically start installing software. It's very, very easy to do.
He just made me think, even if I've got like an old computer, I've got an old laptop at home, it runs slower than it should, but my gut tells me it would run faster.
Yeah.
You could help us even
Dig
with
into
that.
Jason.
Oh yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Optimize. It's coming up. Cybersecurity, North Salina, the location, Salvation Army building, March 25th. The meeting starts at 6 o'clock. Jason, owner of JABITLC, Jason Bathon. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you guys for having me.